Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Leesburg. Happy Monday. Our theme for this year is 2020 Spiritual Vision, and this month our focus is inclusion in action. Today's talk is titled Better Together. Doesn't that sound great? Can't wait to hear it. Right now, let's open up together, setting our service and bringing our awareness of unity, oneness, which is represented by one lit candle. Let us close our eyes and bless this service and our time together. Let us also recognize the divine presence that moves in all things and know that this presence of love expresses each of us in unique and beautiful ways. I know that we are blessed by our time and that each of us will be renewed in our remembrance of love, peace, wholeness, and connection. I give thanks to everyone in attendance and for everyone who made our service possible today. May the energy of love generated here bless everyone abundantly. And so it is. Please post or prepare to share your joys, celebrations, and prayer concerns for later in our service. And also, we invite you to join us for pearls and personal interaction in our Google Meet after our service. At this time, we will join in meditation read by Charlene Hicks.
Close our eyes if we feel comfortable and simply just rest. In that oneness, because there is no separation between our inner selves and the world that we see around us. We each live and move. We have our beingness in the divine. And the divine is all that there is. When the universe / God created us, it didn't create it out of something else. It created it out of itself. And so as we rest in that little central spot in, let's say, the middle of your chest, imagine that right there is a small little flame, the flame of the divine. It may flicker, it may waver, but it never ever has gone out. Right in the center of our being, that is where we all are connected. We all are one. Breathing into this space and just simply relaxing. If your shoulders are tense, just drop them. And relaxing all the muscles in the face. Relaxing that jaw, letting it slack a little bit. Deeply breathing. And with every sound that we hear, we allow it to anchor us deeper into the awareness that we are cultivating right here and right now. Allow our breath to slow, consciously aware of each in and out breath. Incorporating any sounds, any feelings into that breath and letting it deepen us, deepen our awareness. Any thoughts come up, we remind ourselves to simply let it go and return to the breath. And with each breath, we fan the flame that flickers within. Its light grows bigger, generating a sense of warmth throughout the center of our chest that radiates out. It radiates upward through our chest and our neck and into our face. We feel that warmth, the warmth of the love of the divine. It radiates out from our solar plexus, out to all of those around us, and it radiates downward, rooting us into this place that we sit or where we find ourselves at this moment. This bubble of light that's radiant, that is us, is behaving as us as we move through this world, through this planet, through our spiritual community and beyond. It joins with the other flames and the other individuations of God, and it shines so brightly, and is so warm to those who come near. It attracts like-mindedness. It attracts high-mindedness. It attracts good. So with this knowing that we are all connected through this divine flame that burns forever within, I call this day good and very, very good. I give thanks that we are one, and so it is. And feel free to open your eyes and return back into the room where you are. So, welcome. Today, I get to talk to you about Better Together is the title. And so it's so appropriate for this time right now. Because it is our interdependency that we have on each other. That is the fruit of our spirits. So how do we build the beloved community in our hearts, in our minds, and around us? How do we do that? Well, it starts with and ends with inclusion. Inclusion. And inclusion is the basis of everything we see around us. Now, of course, that's counterintuitive, right? Looks like everything's separate. If you look around us, I mean, there's definitely a place where one thing stops and another thing starts. But if we take that vision, if we take that gaze and soften it a bit, we can see that it all is one. There's just one. In fact, there is only one God, right? There's only one mind. There's only one spirit and one power that is multiplied out and diversified out so that it expresses as all these different things. But its truth is that it's one. And in fact, let's think about evolution. Evolution, as we, came from the amoeba and, life evolved from that. We didn't just discard the thing that came before it. In fact, everything that evolved included everything that came before it and then extends out into the next thing, into the next expression. And of course, that's the way it is. Of course, that's how it should be. In fact, it's interesting that the process that the Creator is using to create, unfolding, expressing itself through the relationships and interactions of itself. That is how evolution unfolds. Each expression, whether singular or collectively, is necessary and inseparable from the whole. It's really, we wouldn't exist, right, without the amoeba, which whatever is evolving after that will include that. And everything we are includes what's coming next. All form is temporal. Evolution demands inclusion within change. Inclusion within the change. You don't throw away everything you've done up until now and say, okay, that's it. Start all over again. Blank slate. Learn language again. Let's learn how to... No, it builds. It builds, and of course it builds. In fact, the evolution of our culture demands that history be included as the foundation, right? The foundation of where we are from, that is where we stand upon so that we can at the same time surrender it so we can evolve. That's how it works. We include and we transcend. And I love this because we're not denying anything. We're not, throwing away, as they say, the baby with the bathwater, right? In fact, Ernest Holmes says in Science of Mind, if our human relations are to mean the most to us, we must sense that there is a hidden within, around, and through each of us, a divine presence manifesting itself as infinite variations of the same impulse. Infinite variations of the same impulse. The same love and life, but never quite alike in any two persons. And isn't that the beauty of it? There's no such thing as clones, right? Everyone not quite alike in any two different persons. So if we think about this, if everyone is part of the divine, each one not quite like each other, but still that same spark of the divine is in each and every one of us, then how could we ever think that we're separate? How can we? And unfortunately, we see it all the time. We do it all the time. In fact, I'm reading a book by Isabel Wilkerson called Caste, and she talks about how caste is probably a better way of categorizing what we currently call racism, right? What we currently call racism is just, institutionally, we treat a race of people different. And as Reverend Sunday talked about last week, turns out there's no such thing as races. That's all made up. It's all made up. It's just a construct that somebody made up based on skin color, right? It's a good way to separate people and put them into castes. And it's, really awesome if you have a controlling government or controlling party, let's call them the upper caste, who needs a lower caste in order to be upper. You can't be an upper caste if there's no lower. So you make something up. You make up, and in the book she says, well, it's ridiculous how they made it up. I mean, really, they could have picked anything. But for fun, let's just say that these intruders, these colonizers came to a land where everybody was short and they were tall. And so they decided, okay, let's do a caste thing where all the tall people are upper caste and all the short people are the lower caste. And it actually tracks because height, if you're in a pygmy country full of pygmies, then of course you're going to be born into being short. And there's no way you can match your way out of shortness. You can't. You're short. That's it. You were born that way. So in this scenario, mental scenario, she says, it's just as ridiculous to say, okay, well, tall people are imbued with all the good stuff and short people are not. Therefore, the tall people get to rule over the short people because that's how they are. And if you're short, well, whoopsie, sorry, you can't. And she said that's exactly what happened when the caste system in America came about. And she compares it to that in India, which is very similar. And it reminded me of something. I'm like, yeah, it's made up. Racism, black, all that stuff, that's made up. Just like Dr. Seuss's story about the Sneetches on beaches. You guys remember this? I just watched it recently. It's really fun. You look it up on YouTube if you get a chance. A bunch of Sneetches. They look exactly alike, you guys, except some of them have a star on their belly and some of them don't. And so the Sneetches who are in the upper caste decided, oh, okay, everybody with a star on their belly gets to enjoy all the goodness, the marshmallow roasting on the beach and all the things, getting in the beach, getting in the water, doing all this stuff that's super fun. And anybody without a star had to sit out and be excluded, and they're all like sad, dragging their heads. You know how it is to be excluded. It sucks. And so, this capitalist dude, I suppose, comes in with a machine, and he's like, this machine will put a star on your belly, and you could be just like the other guys. And so everybody gave him $2 and went and got these stars stamped on their belly, as if it were that easy. And of course, the upper caste of star Sneetches were like, oh my God, no. How dare they try to be one of us? So they decided to get it taken off. And so the same guy who put the star on, was paid to take the star off. It's hilarious. They go back and forth, and everybody's trying to differentiate themselves from the other, trying to create this upper caste so that they could rule over or be better than this lower caste. And I'm like, oh my God, Dr. Seuss, you were like woke from way back in the day, all right? So it's not lost on anybody. In fact, it's so on the nose, right? That why would we consciously, there's the key, participate in something so ridiculous? And so as this community is waking up, I celebrate you guys. I celebrate that my friends and family that are of the white persuasion are helping and waking up and changing the way we see the world, because that is how we embody inclusion. You got to call out the separate, the ideas of separateness, and you have to include the other, because there is no other. That's the point. So let's look. I was reading a book about unity and inclusion. I'll give you the notes on the book later because I took it all down from my Kindle, but here's a couple things. How do you embody inclusion is the question. And there are 3 points that I would love for us all to just embody today. One is love yourself unconditionally. Now that's a challenge at times, but I think you guys are up to the task. The single most important relationship, it says, that you have with yourself is with yourself, right? The single most important relationship is with yourself. You are everything, right? Your relationship with yourself can become an infinite expression of love. How you treat and view yourself may dictate how you interact with the rest of yourself, the universe, and God, right? If you hate yourself, you're going to hate others. That's clear. We know that hurt people hurt people. If you love yourself, you will love others. If you're hard on yourself, you'll be hard on others. You know the drill, right? So whenever we meet someone who's being overly judgy, just feel a little compassion for them, because, oh my God, what's it like to be in your head? Just think, if they're judging you, you just met them and they're already on you. Imagine what must suck, right? To be in their head. They're probably on themselves 10 times harder than they are on you. Conversely, whenever you find yourself judging somebody, this just happened to me yesterday. I was on a Zoom call with some people that I work with. And there was one lady who, let's be honest, she exhibits a lot of my personality traits. And I went in and judged her. And I'm like, oh my gosh, there I am. Doing that whole self-hate thing. So she's a little giddy and a little excited. And I immediately was like, ugh. So I just flipped the switch in my brain, because I'm working on this talk at the same time. And I was like, I love that about her. Right? I do. So I have to love me right where I am unconditionally, because I don't have anybody else nobody else is going to come in and be Charlene for me. I've got to love me. That comes right from everything that's on me to everything that's in me. I've got to start embracing that and love it. We have some time, you guys. We got a little time these days. We're sitting at home. We can do lots of things with ourselves. And one of those things is to start to love. Compassion with ourselves. I'll be compassionate with others if I can be compassionate with myself. I can love and I can respect and I can unconditionally accept and encourage myself to be the best I can be. And stop expecting myself to be like someone else or exactly the same way as somebody else. You guys have, been with me on my hair journey. Oh my word. But I mean, when I stopped trying to look like somebody else, it made it a little easier. And I just said to my hair, okay, what do you want to do? Because I clearly am fighting an uphill battle here. What do you want to do? And as long as I can keep it moisturized, it's just going to be whatever it is. Stop trying to beat it down to look like somebody else. And thank God we have all this time to be home, because I don't have to go anywhere and look presentable. And I'm using air quotes in my head, right? I don't have to look presentable. Nobody's going to see me. So experiment. Get to know yourself. Love everything you find. And I hope that is of some use to some of you listening. But just, you know what? Either love who you are and where you are, or if you're, admittedly, not everybody's in a good place. And sometimes I'm also ready to leave a certain condition in my own space. So if you can't relish where you are in this moment, then relish where you're going and who you will become. Think about that. Like, hey, there I am on the treadmill walking up a 40% incline, cussing somebody out. I don't love that. I hate that. But I like where I'm going. I like that my heartbeat is, pulsating all throughout my body, and it's kind of conditioning me. Even though I can't go to the gym, I can get that heart rate pumping. And so even if I don't love where I'm at that moment, I love where I'm going. I'm going towards health, wholeness, and all that good stuff. So we get to love ourselves unconditionally as step one. All right? In fact, there is a bigger part of ourselves. There's a broader self. Starting with step one, loving yourself unconditionally, we can love our broader self, otherwise known as other people. Yep, I said it. Those other people are you, but broader out. It's the extension. It's that flame that we meditated on that extended. So love that unconditionally. Why? Because listen, you might look out on someone or something or some politician and decide, yuck, I hate that. That's not a good thing. That, cannot love that. Well, guess what? The universe does not disconnect from that thing just because we don't like it. The universe does not exclude any part of itself. And so, right, because God allows all expressions, regardless of what they look like or how they're acting. That's true. It doesn't matter, right? Even if we think it's evil, we think it's bad, the universe doesn't say, you're right, I agree, banished. No. Wouldn't that be funny, though, if it worked like that? But it totally doesn't work like that. So all expressions are allowed, regardless of their form, regardless of their behavior. But if you and I choose honest, loving connections, we will feel emotionally blissful. If we make hateful choices, we will feel unpleasantness and pain, period. So each day, how about a goal? That we have as many meaningful and loving connections with our broader selves as possible. So back in the days, BC, before COVID, we may have found ourselves able to just drive around. Oh my God, drive places? What? And go to work and interact with the person at the security gate or, in the restroom, washing our hands, somebody next to us washing their hands. We had opportunities then. To be interactive and positive. Well, we have those opportunities now, and they might be online a lot. They might be interactions that we have to cultivate, like we might have to pick up our phone and text our loved ones or call our loved ones or set up a Zoom dance party. Do it. It's fun. Those things could happen still, a little more intentional, but we need to consciously choose blissful connections, loving connections, because when we don't, we're going to experience negative emotions, negative feelings, and it's okay to experience negative feelings. It's just that they're postmarks, they're signposts on the way, on our journey. This might not be so good for you, right? Those negative feelings are just kind of saying, hey, flag, FYI, you might want to choose differently. This isn't so great. Okay? In fact, if you think about it, anyone, this is from Ralph Waldo Trine, okay? Anyone, a fool or an idiot, can be exclusive. It comes easy. I love it. It takes, and it signifies a large nature to be universal, to be inclusive. Only the man or woman of a small, personal, self-centered, and self-seeking nature is exclusive. The man or the woman of a large, royal, unself-centered nature never is. The one loves merely himself, the other loves all the world, but in his larger love for all the world, he finds himself included. So how does this work with stronger together? Well, if you include everybody in your consciousness, if you include rather than exclude, you'll find that relationships are stronger, and ideas and creativity and anything that you create as a group of inclusive people, it becomes more viable, more powerful, more creative, more beautiful. With diversity, including everyone else or many other kinds of people, not just one monolithic type, you find more strength. In fact, if you think about it, wire ropes, have you ever seen a wire rope? I've seen one before. I had to hang this picture, and the picture was very, very heavy. And so I couldn't just hang it on the wall with a nail. I went to the store and bought something, these wires that are twined together, and you sort of string the wired rope between these two anchor points and then hang that onto the nail. Turns out one wire, not that strong. 2 wires entwined together, stronger. 3, even stronger. In fact, on the packaging, there's a gauge that says how much weight can be held by each of the different gauges or different sizes of strands that are woven together. So it's true, stronger together. Those single wires individually wouldn't hold a thing, not much at all. But as you wind them and intertwine them together, their strength together is much more than any of individual wires could have been alone. So just as our inclusion of more and different wires yields stronger, more versatile wire that expands the uses, strengths, and effectiveness, our inclusion of more and different cultures, views, and individualized expressions of humanity creates expanded, stronger, and more effective communities. So finally, the third thing, love the non-human aspects of the universe. The non-human aspects of the universe? Yep, we're talking animals, plants, a rock, internet, inanimate nature. All of the things in the universe is all one. It's all part of the oneness. And we can experience great joy when we connect with nature. We can take a walk. I really should. I keep saying I'm going to take a walk in nature. It changes me. When I do get out there, I'm like, oh, why don't I do this all the time? It's just amazing. When you connect with food, with drink, with art, with music, dance, architecture, all of the expressions of the divine in each of their brilliance, we too can connect with it. We will feel stronger. We will feel more of that love moving through us. It's all about connection, isn't it? You can even love abstract things like freedom and liberty and knowledge, the activities that you do, any hobbies. You can love travel to what degree you can do it right now. And all of that is the principle of oneness. You can watch movies and experience the beautiful nature of creation. Like I'm watching a couple different movies right now. We'll talk after service. And it's so awesome, the creative minds of some of these people, these stories. Oh my. You just become very appreciative of how life shows up in each and every one of us. And in fact, everything down to the subatomic level has some consciousness. According to panpsychism, everything is conscious all the way down to the minutest aspects. And they all embrace becoming aware of, when we become aware of it, becoming part of the collective conscious. It's great. Everything celebrates. It's like, I feel like nature just exalts itself. It's just so happy when we appreciate it and we come into awareness of it. So if you think about us, the entire planet and every individual on it, think of it as a beautiful tapestry where each individual strand is bound together and pressed together where you can't really see the separateness of it. all you see is the beauty of the whole thing. Because in truth, that is what we are. We each partake in this wonderful tapestry called life, our spiritual community and beyond. We're all part of that beautiful, beautiful tapestry called life. And even though you could unravel a physical tapestry, you can't unravel the tapestry of the divine. Our energy is commingled like water in the ocean. It's impossible to separate one drop from the other. To say, well, I'm wetter than you. It's silly, right? We're all part of the divine. And we are all individualized expression of the one energy that is the divine. So as we wrap up this talk, which I've had so much fun chatting with you guys about, I want us all to ask ourselves, does what I wish to do express more life, more happiness, more peace to myself, and at the same time harm no one else? Right? If it does, it's right. And if it's done at the expense of anyone, even at your own expense, no sacrifices, you guys, then it's the wrong use of the law. And that's adapted from Science of Mind textbook. So no sneetches on beaches here. We're inclusive. Everybody matters. And my choices, as long as they do not harm the freedom and the value of others, and I'm not sacrificing parts of myself to fit in or feel good or make other people think I'm good. Yeah, I'm making choices based on that today. So, as we go within with our final prayer, I'm going to read the requests for prayer as we move into this time. So as we close our eyes and go within, we know that we are connected and one with the divine, that there is no separation, there's no otherness. We are all one. In this oneness, we enjoy all of the attributes of the universe, of life itself, the joy, the abundance, the peace, the wisdom, the health and well-being of the divine is ours now. We cannot be separate from our good. Any ideas that we have that move us away from thoughts of our connectedness, well, I speak my word that right now those thoughts are dissolved into the nothingness from whence they came. I speak my word for all those being affected by weather in the United States. We've got fires in California, hurricanes in the south. We've got record heat in derecho in the Midwest. I know that right where they are, God is. I'm speaking my word for comfort, and for safety, and for an outpouring of support in these times for these people affected. May this time spark the connected energy in each of them, that they come, that others come to the rescue, be that in the form of physical aid, financial aid, or simply spiritual knowledge of the truth about them, holding them up in prayer and supporting them right here and right now. I speak my word for our country, that anybody who is affected by the COVID itself, that they are being cared for by the doctors, the nurses, the healthcare providers, that their family is being held up in this time, and that this country is healing right here and right now any sense of separation between parties. I speak my word right now for a free and fair election as we move through this time of apparent separation and coming back together and healing as a whole. So with this divine knowledge, this divine peace, this divine oneness that we all find ourselves connected within, I simply give thanks, knowing that the words that which I spoke come from the authority that is one that is connected with the divine, and that with these words, as I release them into the law, I know that they are acted upon by Spirit, returning with fullness the truth from which they came. I release my word into the law, knowing that it is so, and so it is. Now we have some music from Leah, so bear with me as I present that.
Good morning. This is an interpretation of a Jack Johnson song. There's no combinations of words I could put on the back of a postcard. No song I could sing that fully expresses what's in my heart. But all dreams are made out of real things, like a shoebox of photographs with sepia tone love in. Love is the answer, at least for most of the questions in my heart. Like, why are we here? Where do we go? And why are some things hard? It's not always easy, and sometimes life can be deceiving. I tell you one thing, it's always better when we're together. It's always better when we're together. Yeah, we aim for the stars when we're together. Yeah, it's always better when we're together. You and I are always better when we're together. And all of your words might find their way to my dreams tonight, and I'll become more me by the morning's early light. 'Cause each day brings brand new things, ways of seeing the world and listening and becoming so much more. None of us is alone in the universe. We are here to expand, transform each other and the whole world. Every woman, man, boy and girl. Every woman, man, boy and girl. Oh yeah, yeah. We're always better when we're together. Yeah, we aim for the stars when we're together. We know we're better when we're together. You and I are always better when we're together. Better when we're together.
Thank you, Leah. That was amazing as usual. Just love her. All right, so it is time for some announcements. That was Leah. All right, hold on. I'm going to be sharing. Sorry, it takes me a minute. All right, screen to share. All right, everybody turn off your microphones, please. And 1 second while I flip the camera. Okay, guys. Right now what I'm Right now what I'm showing to the world is a bit of a backwards presentation, so just give me a sec. I figure this out. Yeah, so 1 sec while I make another one. Talk amongst yourselves. Just a second. Screen. Dang it. Dun, 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 dun. So what's coming up is it's time to think about supporting the place where you feel fed. So if you just, you see which PowerPoint. There we go. Yay. Alrighty. So let's say in ourselves, I mean, you could say it with me, but please turn off your mic. The presence of Spirit with me blesses everyone I meet, tends to heal everything I touch, brings gladness into the life of everyone I contact. Therefore, I am a blessing to myself, to humankind, and to the day in which I live. And so it is. So we have many ways in which to give, and I do appreciate your generosity during this time. You can text your donations to the number here, 703-940-9620. We also have a Cash App, CSL Leesburg is our tag, and then you can also mail us an old-fashioned check. There's our mailing our mailing address, and our PayPal is there, info@cslleesburg.org. So, and I want to say, as treasurer, I did send out a thank you letter for your contributions so far. So I do appreciate everything that you guys do. In fact, I'm moving on to the next slide. Every week, we at CSL Leesburg have some offerings that we would like for you to take part in. Every Tuesday at 9 a.m., I lead a dream study group where we get together, and it's so great, you guys, to share our dreams with one another and help each other interpret what they might mean. It's interesting how, as you get to know the members of the group, what you do is you start to get insight on their patterns and to see, give them feedback. In fact, I've had dreams that I thought were stupid, and the group was like, "Oh my, Shar, this is what that seems to mean, and this is what you always say, and then look what you dreamed." I'm like, "Oh, you're right." So never take a dream for granted. We have so many things that we can learn from our subconscious helping us out. Another thing that's happening on every Thursday morning, Unified Mindful Practice, presented by Reverend Sunday Cote. She says you don't have to have any previous experience with meditation, and you can just drop in. You don't have to have been coming for the last few weeks to take part in her Unified Mindfulness practice every Thursday morning. And in fact, she's launching an 8-week class for transformational meditation using the principles from Unified Mindfulness. You don't have to be, you don't have to be an experienced meditator. All meditators, from new to experienced, are welcome. And if you go to cslleesburg.org and click classes and workshops, you should see her new class listed there in much more detail than what I'm showing here. But just know it starts on Wednesdays from 6:30 to 8 Eastern Time, starting on September 2nd. So hopefully you can make it. And then that's about it. We're going to be meeting up for our after church, coffee, hospitality, right? Provided by you at your house. But we're going to have a lot of conversation on Google Meet. So after you finish watching this on Facebook, click close and then click open and go to cslleesburg.org and click the button that says Google Meet. And it'll take you right in, and you can chat with us and tell us what you thought and what pearls that you took away with us, with you on this. So thanks for hanging out with me. I'm Charlene Banks, you're a practitioner. So let's all just close our eyes and put your hand over your heart and say, I am love. I'm unconditional love. Then open your eyes and look at the camera. Point to somebody in the room or on the camera. You are love. And then hands up. It's all love, y'all. See you next time. Peace out.